Hello, Blue Jays fans. Welcome to Jays from the Couch YouTube channel and our pregame show for, April 28th, series against the Tampa Bay Rays. I am your host, as always, on iTunes and our podcast, Jays from the Couch Radio. I'm pretty much everywhere, unfortunately for you. Welcome to Jays from the Couch. With me is writer at Jays from the Couch, Ryan Andrews. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right, Sean. As you can see, your shipment has come through, so you bought me at least another couple episodes on these video previews.
Excellent. I won't show the shipment that I'm enjoying right now.
I knew you were holding out on me.
For those of you who aren't familiar, if you missed our first episode of our, what are we going to call it, pregame shows, Ryan Andrews was promised a payment in Coke Zero, and there you go. Not that it's an advertisement for Coke Zero, because let's be honest, Coca-Cola, you need to pay for that. But
if they want to give me some money, just with all the plugging I've done over the past week, I am more than happy to take money from Coke, or even free Coke Zero. Just send it over.
Absolutely.
I'll take it.
All right. So again, this is our second attempt at a series kind of pregame thing as an alternative to, who else does it, the pregame shows. Like we said before, no loud suits or voices, just a couple of guys hanging out, talking about baseball. As always, thank you for tuning in on our YouTube channel, which is brand new to us. So we're working out the kinks, but we're doing pretty good so far. As well, you can find Jays from the Couch Radio on iTunes and Google Play. Click on subscribe, give us a rate and review, of course, and enjoy all of our audio content, as well as heading on over to jaysfromthecouch.com, where we are hitting up the keyboard, giving you some writing as well. So we're everywhere. And with that in mind, Ryan, let's get into this. The Toronto Blue Jays just had a gut punch of a series against the St. Louis Cardinals, and they're heading home, hopefully some home cooking against the Rays. What do we think heading into this series, just generally speaking?
First of all, can I tell my experience yesterday?
Oh, please do.
So I'm sitting here in my luxurious one-bedroom apartment in Toronto, and I've already made plans with my significant other and one of her friends who's visiting from New Brunswick. We're all going to meet downtown. So I'm sitting here watching as much of the first game of the doubleheader. I'm stoked because Matt Latos looked like San Diego Matt Latos, which is good. We like that. And yeah, Biagini gave up a run. Smith gave up a run. And then I left with 2 out in the bottom of the ninth. Runner on second, Osuna. All he had to do was get through one batter. I'm like, all right, I can't wait anymore. I do have to go. So I left before he finished pitching to Grichuk. And then when I got to the restaurant where I was meeting everyone, I look, and all of a sudden it's like 8-4 final. I'm like, the heck happened?
Osuna Matater.
Oh, yeah. And then Tepera does the Texas two-step, and it leaves the ball yard.
So this is what's really funny, I guess, before we get into the Tampa Bay thing is, people are asking, what do you do, right? So the first thing somebody said to me today was, okay, Roberto Osuna. Are they seriously going to continue with him as a closer? And in all honesty, you know how John Gibbons is. He's going to trust his guys and give them the opportunity. And in his mind, Osuna has earned the right to fail a little bit. But when you're mired in such a funk, can you really afford? And so I was like, you know what? And of course, I was super bitter, stayed up late to watch a doubleheader loss. And so I was super bitter, and I was like, you know what? Get him out of there. Fire somebody else in there to get some outs. Put him in a low-leverage situation. Whatever you need to do. Give him a day off. I don't know, man. But this is like where maybe in this Tampa Bay Rays series where the two teams tend to, for some reason, battle each other pretty strong, maybe this is where we see John Gibbons, maybe not give that faith, I guess, in guys who have done it before.
Yeah, Lord knows I need him to figure out something with that bullpen, because I cannot keep adding whiskey to my Coke Zero. It's not good for me. So I don't know really who becomes a candidate to go into that closer role, because Grilly hasn't been as effective as he usually is. You don't want to put a guy like Joe Smith there, who, yes, he does have closing experience, but it's mixed at best. You don't want to put in guys like Dominic Leone and Ginger Wizard Danny Barnes. You don't want them in that role. So really, you're kind of stuck if you're Gibby. You just have to hope Osuna can come into the series with the Rays against a familiar opponent, and he can perform a little better than he did in the Show Me State. He's got to show something else.
Yeah, I mean, no wonder what Billy Koch is doing. Just maybe give him a call.
We get Frank Francisco to stop throwing lawn chairs for a second, come close the game.
Oh, man, maybe you pull Dwayne Ward out of retirement to the Terminator, come up in his walker and just throw some strikes or something. But so game one, Tampa Bay Rays. This is what really bugs me about the Tampa Bay Rays is that they're not very good. In theory.
Not at all.
And yet, they're better than the Toronto Blue Jays so far in 2017, which, I mean, let's be honest, everybody in baseball is better than the Toronto Blue Jays if you look at wins and losses. But for some reason, these two teams are always close, and the Rays just are a thorn in the side of these Blue Birds. So game one, Marcus Stroman. Is this the guy? Are we at the point where we can say this is the guy who will be a loss stopper, a win streak starter, a hip hopper, showstopper kind of guy? Or is this just, are we at the point where we just say, yeah, whatever, throw anybody out there?
That depends. Is he batting sixth?
Yeah, it's we're there, aren't we?
Yep. Yeah. Oh, we've been there for a while, Sean. Check the record. We are in that territory already. Last in the majors. Last in the country.
Well, I've been just watching like this. That's all, So.
That's the only way to watch nowadays.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to think the way Stroman just done everything for this team so far that he is the guy to come in and really put a stop to this kind of slump. Granted, it was always going to be difficult in the doubleheader yesterday, especially when you tack your bullpen in the first game. But Stroman has shown the capabilities in his young career to be a guy who kind of thrives on that pressure, who will come in and really pump himself up and deliver 7 shutout innings, a complete game, 1-run game. Like the exact sort of tonic that you need to fix things. Now, if he does it against Tampa Bay, that's a great thing because Tampa's always been a bit of a bogey team, especially Evan Longoria. He's one of the best players in MLB that you don't remember for a reason because he hits. He hits a lot, and he hits the Blue Jays a lot. Career 1.131 OPS against the Blue Jays, like combining with the slug in there. So as long as he kind of dance around Longoria and Steven Souza, who for some reason just always hits the Blue Jays, Stroman should have an easy time with this lineup, and his counterpart is not exactly up to snuff when it comes to him. Matt Andriese, saw him earlier in the year, and we're able to hit him pretty well. So, regular Stroman should be more than enough to set the tone for this series and kind of erase the taste of that first 4-game set in Tropicana.
Let's hope. And I'm with you on if you want one guy to step up and use that energy and feed off that energy, it's got to be Stroman, obviously. And I think we've heard that a number of times. I don't think we need to go into it to kind of prove the point. But if you're looking at who has had success against Stroman, you mentioned him, Evan Longoria. He's got a couple of home runs against him, hitting .375 against the Stro Show. But that's about it, realistically speaking. I mean, here I'm looking at it now. We've got, let's see, Logan Morrison's hit a home run, and he's got 5 RBI against him. And that's about all the success the Rays have had. Not that they aren't collecting their hits, because they are, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, because Stroman's going to give up contact. If he's really on, it's weak contact, ground ball kind of contact. But if he's up in that zone, then guys like Evan Longoria are certainly going to enjoy hitting at the Rogers Center tonight. Oh, yeah.
And teams generally seem to enjoy, being able to do that. And I apologize, I got a little ahead of myself. Matt Andriese's game 2 starter for the Rays. It's a lefty, Blake Snell, in the opener, which he's a lefty, so that's even better for the Blue Jays because they can actually hit lefties. So and
Morales had some
Snell,
success too, right?
yeah, exactly. And Snell is not a foreign opponent. They faced him in the opener in Tampa Bay, and they knocked him around for 5 runs, 4 of them earned. But he was really wild in that first game. 5 walks against the Blue Jays. It's been a problem for Snell so far this season. So I know the Blue Jays have had success with that kind of aggressive stance at the plate that they've been taking to shake themselves out of their early season doldrums. But against a guy like Snell, you can afford to wait, make him make his pitch, and just when he serves up that fat juicy one, and it will come from Snell, just take advantage of it and don't wrap it into the dirt. Take it deep, and put some runs on the board for Stroman. Stroman doesn't need many runs, but you got to be able to put runs on the board for him.
You know what, and that's one of the frustrating things about the season thus far is, the patience at the plate for the Blue Jays is still there, but when they get those juicy pitches that you would expect them to just absolutely tear the cover off of, they're not. They're popping it up, they're just Jose Bautista's completely missing it. And that's what's difficult to watch. So hopefully, if anybody can give up something for them to hit and maybe serve up some batting practice for them to kind of come back here, maybe it is Blake Snell.
So it wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, honestly. Absolutely. Game 2, you're as you already said, Matt Andriese against Frankie, our boy. Frankie, say relax. Liriano's got game 2.
Yeah, and again, another rematch from the opening series, and you have to hope for a lot better from Liriano this time out than last time, because it doesn't get much worse than 135 ERA.
Yeah,
but
we're not talking about that.
No, let's just move past that. Those 35 pitches do not exist. Nope. But he's bounced back very well considering since then. Solid outing against Baltimore, only gave up the 2 runs. 5 1/3 shutout innings against the Red Sox and a victory. And then even on the road against the Angels, he was a hard luck loser, giving up those 2 runs when really the Blue Jays should have done anything else against that Angels pitching staff in that game, but they didn't. And like I said in the previous game when I thought he was starting game 1, Matt Andriese is not a dominant pitcher. He's a guy who Toronto was able to hit in that game. Again, only went 4 innings, gave up 5 runs, 7 hits. Not as wild as Snell, but he's a softer tosser than Snell. So you can square up those balls and drive them into the gap for solid hits. And the Blue Jays should be able to do that again. This is the key word, should be able to do that. It's just a matter of if they can take advantage of the younger pitcher and get Liriano the support he needs to even out his record.
Yeah, I mean, the Blue Jays should have done a lot of things already in 2017. So if we're saying they should do it, maybe that doesn't bode too well for them. Looking at the Tampa Bay Rays' success against Liriano, it's no surprise again, Evan Longoria. By the way, I approve of the Evan Longoria facial hair decision to start this season. Good move.
I figured you'd be a fan. I can't do that. That's why you see me cleanly shaven and looking like a 12-year-old. So,
well, technically, I can't do it either. Most of this is cosmetic makeup, but I paste it on right before we go live every time. Yeah, little known fact.
Yeah, and and admittedly, they're. I'm going to try and get back on track now. Admittedly, there haven't been many counters to Longoria in the lineup for the Blue Jays, but against a guy like Andriese, they may have one, and it comes in the form of first baseman extraordinaire this year, Justin Smoak. He's had a lot of success in his limited amount of time that he's seen Andriese. 6 at-bats, he has an OPS of 2.583, which is very, very good. It's a very good high number to have if you're – especially a guy like Smoak, who, is starting to show a little offense this year, but hasn't really shown much. Expect Smoak to have a big day in game 2. If you're playing daily fantasy, he's the guy I go after for that first base slot so you can spend the money elsewhere. So gambling tips for the kids.
There you go. We are not responsible for your losses or your gains. You can
exactly.
keep those as well.
And I can say that as many times, but you are still putting Justin Smoke and expecting to win money. So
Right. So if you do that, you deserve whatever fortunes you get.
yeah,
It's
I'm
either
saying there's a good chance. There's a good chance you'll get something from it, but remember what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Game 3. This figures to be, I'm really excited about Game 3 because it figures to be a really, really good matchup of two different pitchers. Marco Estrada and Chris Archer
Yeah.
head to head, in Game 3. Uh-oh.
There has been a change in plans, Sean Doyle.
Oh my goodness.
Found on Sunday for your Toronto Blue Jays is the returning champion, Aaron Sanchez.
Yes. Yes. That
Aaron
is correct.
Sanchez will come off the DL, banish Casey Lawrence to Buffalo, and will emerge from the shadows to try and slay this Tampa Bay demon in the form of the Afro-One Chris Archer.
Yes. And you know what is really funny is that in my head, I knew that. And I think that I just kind of blocked it out because everything has been terrible this year. And so when you get excited about something like Aaron Sanchez coming back, the return of the Mac, you just kind of be like, well, yeah, whatever. So yes, that is correct. Aaron Sanchez back, which is good news. Obviously, the interesting thing will be how can removing half of the end of your finger, obviously I'm hyperbolizing here, but how will that shape up when you're pitching in a real live game? Because you can throw bullpens and side sessions and do whatever, but game time is where you can either be Aaron Sanchez or you could be like a Trevor Bauer in the ALCS, and
yeah,
have to be potent.
And yeah, well, Trevor Bauer, I think he did a little more cosmetic damage than Aaron Sanchez, but this is a perfect kind of opponent for Sanchez to face in his first start back off the DL. He's made 3 starts in the past 2 years against the Devil Rays, averages 7 innings, under 1 run allowed per game. He's very dominant against this team. They can't catch up with his fastball. And this is also a rematch of that early Saturday game, that Game 3 that was very well pitched by both clubs. It was the first appearance of Casey Lawrence, and it's fitting this will mark the last appearance of Casey Lawrence, hopefully on the Blue Jays roster for a little bit. No offense, Casey, but you're not ready. So to get to see him go up against Archer too, it's a nice matchup, but it's one where you think Sanchez has the advantage. Again, he should get support from his offense to get a win in this one. It would be the first one for him, which who thought we'd be saying that heading into the turn of May. Sanchez doesn't have a win yet, but this is a perfect opportunity for him to come back. There's a perfect chance to shake off that rust and really put the Blue Jays on the path to win a series. Which, come on, we can get one of those before May, right?
Well, again, should, but whether that turns out. And just as on a side note, you feel terrible for Casey Lawrence because right from the very first inning, you knew he didn't have anything against the Cardinals, and he had to stick it out and take his lumps and all of that stuff, knowing that, you know what, I'm done. Yeah. I won't be pitching on a major league roster or major league mound for a little bit now after that. But you know what? He still pitches better than you or I. So, I guess there's something there, right? But anyway, so let's take a quick look here. One person, one player you expect to stand out for the Tampa Bay Rays.
For the Tampa Bay Rays, it's actually really difficult because, like I said, Sanchez has owned this team. He does not give up anything to them. If you're looking for someone to kind of stand out for Tampa, it might be the outfielders. Kevin Kiermaier's had some success in his career, 700 OPS lifetime against Sanchez. That's actually tops amongst Devil Rays who have a minimum 5 at-bats against him. So you could be looking at production there in an unexpected place. But if Kevin Kiermaier is going to beat you, I mean, that's not a good sign. You shouldn't have anyway. So I don't think you have to really worry about the Devil Rays. The Devil Rays have a lot more problems because they'll have the big bat of Kendrys Morales in their face, and Kendrys loves teeing off on Chris Archer.
Yeah, so that would have been the guy I would have went with for the Toronto Blue Jays, who's going to stand out, and I would have picked Morales. And so I hate to do it, but for the Rays, you got to kind of take that low-hanging fruit in Evan Longoria, just because, I mean, we've already talked about the success he's had. So for me, though, looking through all three games, I'm going to look for that matchup against Aaron Sanchez, see if he can be the one to tame this Evan Longoria. And on another note, I will say how refreshing it is to hear you call them the Devil Rays, because nobody does it anymore, and I think that's awesome. We need more of that.
You can't outrun your past. You can try and say you've changed and found God and gone all angelic and everything, but we know where that team is, and it ain't in Tampa Bay. So you can keep being the Devil Rays as long as you're down there.
All right, that's it for our pregame series introduction, preview, whatever you want to call it. Thank you very much for tuning in here on our YouTube channel. Make sure you click that subscribe wherever it is. It's somewhere down there. Just click on it, and you'll get all the notifications or whatever. There it is, apparently over here. Is it? It's here?
I think so.
All right. It's the one that says subscribe. click on that one. Yeah. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, you can catch all of our audio content on iTunes or Google Play. Just search up Jays from the Couch Radio. You'll find us there. We're on Instagram. We're on we got a Facebook page. We're on Twitter at Jays from Couch, and obviously on the interweb, www.jaysfromthecouch.com. Ryan Andrews, tell everybody how they can follow you, sir.
They can follow me on the Twitter machine at NeoAC18. That is NeoAC18. I'm getting close to 500 followers, which is a big milestone because I didn't think that many people gave a crap about what I said in 140 characters. So thank you to the Blue Jays fans who have helped push me up there. You can keep following me there and keep looking for my writing at jaysfromthecouch.com, that wonderful bastion of knowledge when it comes to the Toronto Baseball Club.
Absolutely. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's hope for a series win against the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, and we'll see you again for the next series, maybe against the Yankees. Thanks for watching. This is Sean Doyle, hoping life gives you a juicy fastball down the middle, and you don't miss it. Take care.